Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Armon, and this video is sponsored by AdamandEve.com, America's #1 adult toy store company. If you or someone you know are looking to spicing things up, then I got you covered. Head over to AdamandEve.com and use my discount code Armon to receive 50% off of one item and free shipping on an entire order in the US and in Canada. Some exclusions may apply. Happy loving. AdamandEve.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Live from San Francisco, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to the Armon Wiggins Radio Show.
Hello, what's going on, everybody? Yes, it's your boy Armon, and we are live in the studio, back with another video. Okay, did y'all like that? Oh my God, I couldn't wait to release that. Listen, that beat bangs. All right, first of all, I want to give a shout out, a huge shout out to our sponsor, AdamandEve.com. Make sure you guys go use my promo code and get that 50% off. Let me tell you, Valentine's Day is around the corner, and I'm telling you, it's going to come in handy. So AdamandEve.com, make sure you're going to let them know that Armon sent you by using my code. All right. We have an exciting show for you guys today. I told you we have Jaimee Foxworth in the building. She is here via phone call. So we're going to get into some things. I'm really excited to talk to her. You know, it really just kind of came out of nowhere. She's just such a good spirit and just a sweet woman. And I was just like, hey, you know what? Like, let's chat. And she was up for it. She gave me no problems, no nothing. So I thought it'd be cool. We're going to get into some things. I see all you guys asking, like, what do y'all want to do? Like, didn't she do porn? Didn't she do this? And I love that show. We're going to talk about it all. Okay. So we're going to be respectful in the chat. And we're gonna get into some things. So I'm gonna shout out to everybody that's here. If you're a return subscriber, then you know how this thing goes. If you're a new subscriber, welcome and hello.
Hello, motherfucker.
All right. So without further ado, we gotta bring my girl on the line. Let me bring her on. All right, Jaimee, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Hi.
Hey.
How you guys?
Hey. Listen. Okay, so I'm so excited. Like, I'm like literally cheesing right now because, girl, you just don't know. Like, when you popped into my inbox and like you were so nice and encouraged me, like that really, like, I was really gassed up. I was so hyped. And so I just want to say thanks for that.
Oh, of course. Now, you know what it was? I think Armon is being a little bit humble here because I did jump in his DM and I was very excited because I was just cleaning up the house. I started getting into watching YouTube like real late. Like as of last year, I started getting into YouTube. And then I kind of trickled down on the side of like the gossip sites and the celebrity, speaking on celebrities and all that.
Right.
And, I watched a couple and, it was just, some of them were just dry for me. And I'm very, very much, I love humor. I love people being upbeat. I love personality. So when I stumbled on yours, I just went down a damn rabbit hole where I was constantly watching your stuff. And I was cleaning, I was cooking, I was helping my mom putting her makeup. I was doing everything to your videos because—
Are you serious?
They were just so— I'm serious. And it wasn't about the gossip because, like, Hollywood is Hollywood.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about that. It was about your personality.
Thank you.
Your personality is very, you're welcome. It's very, very upbeat. And I don't want to offend you, but you remind me of, like, a young Arsenio Hall to me.
Listen,
So
I've been told that my whole life. So that's why I was like, I want a late night show like Arsenio. They said I look like Arsenio. I've been told, and when I was in 5th grade, my next door neighbor used to call me Arsenio. Like honest to God, everybody calls me Arsenio Hall. Like literally, I can't escape it. And I'm like, I don't look like Arsenio Hall, but I guess I do. Somewhere I remind
Yeah,
people of
no,
Arsenio Hall.
it's the energy. Yeah, it's your energy, it's your personality, you're funny, that bright, beautiful smile. It's just like, it's infectious. So it's not like anything corny about it. It's very much, and there's a professionalism to it as well.
Thank you.
Like, you make jokes and you can go to the hood with it and use your slang, but when you really want to speak on something important to you, like, it comes out and you can see that there's two sides of you. And that's kind of rare when you go on and when you're looking at videos on YouTube. You don't see that professionalism a lot. So there you go.
Well, girl, I'm thankful. And then, we love a person that sows a seed. And you've also sown a seed into the channel. Listen, we can't let that. You sure have. Shout out to sowing a seed. All right. But let's get into this a little bit, okay? Because you were a child star. So mind you, the show debuted in a fantastic year, by the way, 1988, which was the year that I was born. Okay, so you were on the hit sitcom show Family Matters, which they don't make good shows like family shows like that anymore. But tell us a little bit about, like, leading up to that. Like, how did it all begin?
Well, initially my mom came out here because she wanted to follow my sister's dreams of being an actress. My mom is a singer. She loved everything entertainment, but she lived in East St. Louis, and she knew that raising three girls in East St. Louis was not it. Mm-hmm. So my sister kept pressuring her. She's like, my older sister. She kept pressuring her, like, Mom, I want to be in the TV. I want to be in the TV. So she took that as a sign, and she came out here.
Out here is to L.A., right? You're in California.
Out to L.A., yeah,
okay.
To L.A. And so she brought us out here, and she took us on auditions, and then my sister started booking things. Like, she started booking sitcoms and commercials. And so she was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it was like kind of like immediate. So she was like, okay, well, I guess my daughter was right. She really does have a passion for it. So then I'm the youngest. So my middle sister, she was like, well, she sang and she wanted to act as well. So she put her in it, and then she put me in it. I was the one that was a little bit more reluctant, though, because I've always been extremely shy. Okay. So I was like, I was going on the auditions and I was booking things, and I knew that, like, at the time, the thing that I booked was a McDonald's commercial, I think it was, and I was 6 years old. And so I did not like the process of it, as far as, like, having to just have the cameras on you and the bright lights and all that. But I knew that, my mom was happy. So that was kind of like my motivation for doing it.
So this was
and then as I got older, I grew to love it.
So let me ask, so you had no agent or nothing. So mom was just picking you up, taking you, dropping you off and saying, go ahead, girl, do these lines. It was no manager, none of that. It was just you guys going and waiting in line or what?
Right. No, at first they have these things out here. They're called cattle calls. And basically it's like you kind of hear word around town from different people. There's an audition for this. And everybody goes and you have to wait. And it's kind of like American Idol, basically. Like all those long lines and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So at first we were doing that. So like, I think it was maybe my first commercial or possibly the second. I don't remember having an agent. But once I started booking, I got a campaign for McDonald's. Wow. So once I booked that, my mom was like, all right, I need to take them to somebody that's going to be reputable. And then that's when I got an agent. After I got an agent, I was just going on a lot of things. And then that agent sent me out for Family Matters. And I hated that process. Because it really was like American Idol. It was 10,000 girls. And I had to go back 7 times, 7 or 8 times. I had to keep going back and standing in line. And yes. And I was like, and all I knew was like, okay, they didn't change the lines up on me. So all I knew was that keep going back in there doing the same thing. That's all I really knew. And that's exactly what I did. And then it came down to 3 girls. It was Countess Vaughn, the one that was on the park.
Are you serious?
And yeah. Mm-hmm, and we were all sitting in a room.
Okay.
And Countess was like, she was very boisterous. She was like, she knew she was getting, she's how she is.
You're right.
Her, right? She was like that. And I'm sitting here and I'm like kind of shy, kind of like with me, and we'll touch on anxiety, but with me, when I start getting anxiety, I kind of like to try to detach myself from the situation. So I want to think about something else. Because I know if I sit in it too long, I'm going to be fearful and I'm not going to want to do it. Mm-hmm. So I kind of was looking at her and I was looking at Aaliyah, and Aaliyah was very quiet, very sweet, very, very. She was almost like we were on the same temperament. She was she was quiet as well.
Aaliyah, who, like
So
Aaliyah the
Countess went out
singer?
there. Aaliyah, the singer, Aaliyah.
Oh, like
That
so
Countess,
it was so one in a million, like R. Kelly, Aaliyah, like so it was you, Countess, and Aaliyah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And how old were you
Absolutely.
guys? Were you
Yeah.
girls then?
I was 8, and I think Aaliyah was the same age. I think Countess might be a little bit older, but we were all in the same kind of range.
Oh, wow.
Like age range. And so this was a replacement. Judy, when I came on there, it was another Judy before me.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a replacement. So it wasn't. They already knew what type of character they wanted her to be. Blah 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 blah. So I remember they were like, all right, it was, and they kind of kept us in this dressing room. So we were sitting in the dressing room, and then we had to go out to this makeshift like Family Matters living room. And when I came out there, that's when I met Laura, which is Kelly Williams, who's going to play my sister. And I met her, and I was like, oh, okay. And I had to interact the same lines that I had been learning those past 7 weeks. I had to really do it with her. And I didn't even get a chance to say my line. I just went out there, and they told me to stop somewhere. But I remember asking the director, I was like, do you want me to stop right here and turn to her, or should I still be facing the audience?
Mm-hmm.
And he took that and was like, and he stopped me. And so I stopped, and then he was like, okay, that's good or whatever. And then he went back to my mom, and he was, well, he told the writers and everybody, okay, she's the one. And then he went back to my mom and was like, the reason why your daughter got this part is because she could take direction, and she asked me. I don't know, for some reason he thought that was like wonderful.
Because you were
And
like,
so,
okay, so how
right
do you
then
want me
and
to
there-
do it? Okay, mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that was only because I'm just a very detail-oriented person.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I was up there like acting, you know what I mean? That was just a question that I wanted to know because I didn't want to look stupid.
Right.
So I was
right.
like, do I go up here? You know what I mean? Like I was only 8 years old. So then, he told my mom, he was like, I got it like then. And then I remember going back, and I felt some sort of tension in the room because how do you tell the other people, like,
that you got it right there.
You know, they're not going to be on there. Right. So I remember just kind of like packing up my stuff or whatever. And then my mom, she didn't want to show any emotion either because she's a little girl. So she doesn't want to be like, my daughter got it. Like she don't want to do all that. So when we got back into the car, she explained it to me, and she was like screaming. I was screaming, you know. But she knew. But the crazy part about Judy is that I never really knew the magnitude of what Family Matters was during that process, or what Judy would mean to, and her disappearance would mean to people and the fans and all that, because I was a young girl and every day was a learning experience for me. So I was too busy soaking everything up to actually sit there and kind of get a big head and, you know, start calculating the checks. And, you know, I was just like trying to get through each week because my anxiety was building more and more each week.
Okay, so wait, hold on real quick. Did Countess, and did you say like kind of go to Countess and tell her like, girl, I got the job, or, you know, what did Aaliyah and Countess say?
No. Well, Aaliyah, I did not. I saw her like when I came in the room, and we were kind of around each other for a minute, and then I saw her when I left. And then years later, when I got signed, we were doing a summer jam, and she was one of the people that were on the headline, like she was headlining.
Oh, wow.
And I saw her backstage, and I remember it was like crazy. I looked at her, and she looked at me, and it was kind of like a silent like nod to each other, like it was like kind of like, yeah, that's cool that you got Judy, but I'm Aaliyah now. And I was
right.
You know, and it was kind of like that.
Right. Okay.
It was like that. But Countess, and I love Countess, but Countess, I remember during the time that I was signed, we had this song on the Booty Call soundtrack. And so we went to the premiere or whatever, and she was there. And we were like dancing and all this stuff, and she kept, I don't know if she was like bumping into me purposely for me to say something to her, or so I was like, is she still mad? Is she mad about that? Like, I never really knew, and we never got to speak on it. But no, I never had any ill feelings about either one of them.
Okay, well, speaking about Family Matters, so now you're on the show, and so you've been on there for 5 seasons now. I mean, personal question, how were the checks? Like, were they real good for the time period?
No, they were good. Those checks were good. They were good. That's all I can really say. It was
So,
thousands.
so you guys like got a new house, new car, like the big Hollywood, everything. Like you guys just whole life kind of changed. Oh wow, what did that feel like?
It didn't change immediately. It was crazy because it went from us living in an apartment because my mom came out here with nothing. Okay, I'm trying to tell you, she came out here with nothing with her daughters, and she built that up over a short amount of time. That's why my mom is so ill when it comes to business, because she was literally one of the first like momagers. Before there was a little Kris Jenner and all that stuff, it was my mama. So she just knew how to like maneuver herself in the entertainment business because it was her motivation for her daughters, and she knew that her daughters had something. So when we first came out here, we lived in an apartment for 7 years.
Oh,
it was in the suburbs, but it wasn't it was a 2-bedroom apartment. And so we stayed there for 7 years, and we went on auditions and all that. And so when I got Family Matters, like I would say maybe 2 years into it, 2 or 3 years into it, that's when we moved to right across town. It was like the next city over, and we got our first house. And then after that, we got another house, and then we lived on the house. We had a house on the hill.
Oh,
so, yeah,
really? So you lived in like Beverly
like,
Hills or Sunset or in that area, or you just?
No, we always lived in the same city. We just moved up in the hills of the city.
Oh wow! So what about your father? Was there dad? How was dad?
No, my dad was very abusive to my mom.
Okay.
Like, and he didn't. My dad met my mom when they were playing. They were in a band together, and he was just, one of those men that were alcoholic, a mean alcoholic, and they were married for 14 years, and he was just wilding out. And he was just she just couldn't take it anymore. He was cheating, he was drinking, he was beating, and she was just like, no.
Oh, wow. And then one day he had to look up and you're on TV. Wow. One of the most famous people at that time.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think he knew how to take that. He actually followed my mom out here because she was serious about leaving him. He didn't believe her. So he kind of like followed her along with her. And he had ended up like really beating her really bad. And I was like standing in the doorway of when it was happening, and my mom said she remembered, and I remember seeing it too as real little. And she after he was like trying to choke her out. Oh. And so she had looked at me after it was happening. She said, I just remember looking in, like, you seeing that, and I was like, never again. And after that, she moved into her own place. I mean, he did some crazy stuff to try to keep her around, but my mom was too. She was like, no, I'm not. This ain't it. So, yeah. And then he became. He just disappeared. Like, we would see him every once in a while. My mom would take us to see him, but I could see like he was ashamed of like what he put her through and not being there. He's the type of guy that instead of stepping up, he's like, you know what, I'm too ashamed to even show my face, so I'm just not gonna. So he didn't even try to reach out at all. He was just ashamed and embarrassed and he was kind of out. Right.
Okay. So what about the other family? Did a bunch of people start calling? Because you literally people literally grew up with that show. Like, this is a staple in Black household, this show. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people, most Black families know this show, so how did that change the people around you as far as like, distant relatives and even going to school?
Well, in my family, as far as like my aunts and they still looked at me like Jaimee. They were like, okay, whatever, she's on the show, she's still little Jaimee, and that was fine. Like my sisters, my grandma, my aunts, everything was cool. School was a different story though, because when I was in elementary, I first got the show. Yeah. And after I had to start doing press for the show, the girls that I was literally hanging out with, the next day I had to do something for ABC News, and the next day they were crowded around me, ready to jump me. My own best friend. Are you serious? My own best friend.
And was this all your hair?
And their reason.
This was all your hair too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they probably was gonna really try to beat you up.
What do you mean, in the red dress?
No. As a kid, like, so you had long hair. You know what I mean? So you were a really pretty girl too. So yeah, they were probably really jealous of you at that point.
Yeah, and I went to like a predominantly like Armenian, Asian, white school. It wasn't a lot of black girls. So it really hurt me because my best friend that was in elementary was a black girl.
Oh, wow.
And so she was just standing there with them, and she was like, and their reasoning for it is because they made it up in their own head, like, you think you're better than us. And I'm like, what? What are you guys talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So, but they didn't know that as a child, I was extremely sassy, and I was like cussing like a sailor, like a little girl. So I was giving it to them like, oh, watch out. I was going insane. So I really wasn't afraid of them, but I knew that, at that time, I knew that I was like, okay, this show is changing the people, their
Around
perception
you.
of me. I'm still the same, but it's changing, right? Because like I said, I didn't really know the magnitude of the show. So I was just going and just doing my job. I didn't know that everybody else was looking at me like, oh, she thinks because I didn't go to school either. I went to school 1 week out of the month. All the other 3 weeks I was on set.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they put it together like I wasn't going to school because I didn't want to be around them. Whatever they wanted to make up, that's when I first knew, like, okay, you're going to have to watch yourself while you're in school because they don't get it. They don't get this life. So when I hit junior high, that's when I became like sort of a loner.
Okay.
Like I had friends that like I could say associates, but I was always like to myself. Like I was always like, okay, and I couldn't do anything after school. My mom was real strict. So I had to be home at 3:30. I couldn't go into the basketball games, football games. Of course, prom and whatever. Yeah, I could do that. But I couldn't date. I couldn't talk on the phone.
Are you
boys
serious?
or girls. So I was like really secluded. So not only was I secluded in that sense, but I was secluded as people don't really get me. And I'm already shy. So it was just all of that in one. I was just better off like, being on myself.
Oh, wow. And so, okay,
Yeah,
so
it was
how,
pretty,
so how many seasons were the show total? Do you
9
know?
seasons.
9 seasons. Okay, so you were on there for more than half. So you were on there for 5 seasons. Okay, so you get the name, the daughter who went upstairs and never came back.
It never came back.
So what happened?
First of all, I don't even know who made that up. That actually happened in the 90s. Somebody made that up, and I was just like, okay, because it was funny to me. Like I never really take anything too serious.
Right.
But they just couldn't. They were too invested with Steve Urkel at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Urkel was bringing in the checks. He had endorsements. He had dolls. He had, and if the character wasn't. Because you got to remember,
Steve Urkel wasn't there first, huh?
Budgets. Steve Urkel wasn't there first, but he damn for sure made sure that he was going to be there at the end. But these production companies have budgets. So it's just like any other corporation. Like if they feel like we don't need to put money into this, we're going to cut it off, And it wasn't like, because there are stories out there that it was like her mom wanted more money. Her mom was going. My mom was doing some of that stuff, but she was doing it as protecting her kid because she was getting, feedback from people on the street, her friends, and they're like, why isn't her character a little bit bigger? So no, she didn't, because I was in those meetings with her. So no, she didn't go into there banging on the door saying, what's it? No, she was like, I just want to know when my daughter's going to have her own episode to herself because everybody else does. So I just want to know, just asking, because you have to do negotiations to see if your check is going to increase and blah, blah, blah. So during those negotiations, she would ask those questions and they would kind of brush her off like, well, we don't know. Like, we're not sure. Like, well, we have to like kind of develop her more, blah, blah, blah. They were just giving, her the runaround.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They were giving her the runaround and they were like, well, we don't know. And, we're not sure. But the bottom line is that they had a history of doing this with other shows and other characters. So it was kind of their MO. So, no, they really did not care. They were like, I think her putting the pressure on them solidified them saying, okay, we want this little girl off the show.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if she had left it alone, they could have did whatever. And then eventually they would have like dwindled me off. But I think her going in there and saying, look, my daughter, you know, everybody's asking for this. Everybody's, you know, they want to see her more. She has a personality. She's able to memorize, you know, all these different things. And they were kind of like, in a sense, they were tired of it. They were like, who is this lady that keeps coming in with this girl? She should be grateful that her daughter's on the show, blah, 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 blah.
And then
this is a business.
And then we have Steve Urkel, who's just this phenomenon, iconic character now that's taken over. So it's like, this is our cash cow. So you were on there before Jaleel White?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you guys kind of seen Urkel coming.
He was supposed to be, yeah, he was supposed to be like a guest star, and he turned it into something bigger than it was.
Wow.
And that's just how it played out.
Okay. And then so after that, so you leave the show. So did you know that would be your last show when you went upstairs and that was it? Or they said, just don't come back, or what?
They did it. I didn't actually go upstairs.
Oh.
But the joke was because every time you turn around, I would say my line and I would run out the room. And then majority of the time I was running upstairs. So that's where it came from. But I didn't know that it would be my last episode was Mama's Wedding. And that was when the grandmother ends up getting married. That was my last episode. But I did not know that was my last episode. But I did have a weird feeling around the set. Like everybody was acting
everyone else knew.
Everyone else knew. So when I was walking around the set, like probably like 4 days prior, I was like, something is strange. And my mom I think she knew way ahead of everybody else because my mom, she's a singer and she would tour around with Stevie Wonder, blah, blah, blah. But she did not like coming to the set as much. And my sister at the time, she was 17, so she was able to take me. She didn't like coming around the set because she felt like they were doing her baby wrong.
Okay.
And they already told her that, in a sense, I feel like they already told her that, okay, this is going to be her last season. And she just didn't know how to tell me. My mom didn't tell me I was off the show until I asked her because she didn't know how to come to me and tell me that because she felt so mad. My mom's a Leo. So, and she's always riding for us. So that was one instance where she could not do that. So she didn't know how to tell me. But as I was on set, everybody was just treating me like as if I was like a newborn baby. And I was this little girl that was going around. Yeah. And I was this little girl that was going around the set, like me and Kelly, the one that played Laura, we were best friends. So we were just two sassy little girls. I was going around that set saying hi to everyone. I was just like I was like a little black girl around that set. So the fact that they were treating me like I was going to break, I was like, something is kind of weird about this. And they were keeping their distance from me. So I kind of already knew. And so the last film that I shot, the last scene that I shot, the one that played my father, he had kneeled down, so he was my eye level, and he's like, I just want to let you know that you're a great actress. You were so wonderful. And I'm like, why is he acting like? And then everybody started crowding around me and coming in a circle.
Did you cry?
And I was like, no, I didn't, because I didn't know what was going on. Because I didn't know what was going on.
But once you found out it was over, did you cry? Did you be like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do next?
Oh, yeah, I did. No, I did. It wasn't what am I going to do next? It was more of like an insecurity thing. And I cried in my room. Okay. So when she told me, I was already 13. And I was like, we have this thing where we go on vacation and for Christmas and then we come back. And it was past that time. So me and my mom were in the car and I was like, Mom, like, it's time for like, I can wear that when I go back to work. Like, you know, I was just having a conversation. Right. And she was like, she was kind of quiet. And I was like, yeah, I can wear that when I go back to work, right? I kind of already knew, though, something was up. And she was like, yeah, they're not going to have you back this year. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, they're not going to. And so she discussed it with me. And I kind of was like, okay. At that time, I took it. Like I said, God, he reveals stuff to you before it happens. Mm-hmm. So I kind of felt that feeling already. It was when I went into my room and I really thought about it. That's when I was like, oh, this sucks. You know what I mean? Like that, it made me feel like could I act? Like, am I supposed to be doing this? You know, it made you feel all those feelings of you're not good enough.
Yeah.
So
I seen a lot because when I was doing a little research, a lot of people were blaming your mother for it. They basically were saying it was her fault.
Right.
Yeah. So now listening to you, I get what you're saying. To me, it's like I don't think it was her fault. I feel like she was probably doing what she thought she was supposed to do during that time. You were still a kid, you know. Like her job is to look out for you. So I mean, you don't feel any kind of way about what your mom did, do you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't, because I knew, because like I said, I was in those meetings with her.
Yeah.
I was in the meeting when she asked him, hey, so when is she going to get an episode? Because they gave me a small half of an episode after she, you know, went in there and spoke her piece. Mm-hmm. And then we had another meeting with them, and she asked again. She was like, well, can we have another, maybe she goes to a small school dance or whatever. And they were like, she was like, well, when is she going to have her own episode? And they told her straight up, when pigs fly.
Oh, wow.
They straight said that to her face. Yeah, so I was sitting there when all that was happening. Like, my mama wasn't going around that set, like, tormenting everybody and screaming. No, she wasn't doing none of that stuff. Like, she really wasn't. It was just, I feel like sometimes when you deal with business, that's what actually taught me. You cannot put your feelings involved. You cannot be emotional when you're dealing with big corporations and big networks. They do not give a damn at all. So I think the only thing that she might have made a mistake on was actually putting her, like, this is my daughter, you guys, like trying to reason with them. And they were like, we don't care. She's not our daughter. She's not our daughter,
and she's not the main breadwinner for our network right now. So it's about the dollar. It's about the sponsors and all of that. So we move on from that, and then, but you're a musician as well. And then, so what happens after that? So then you just disappear for a while, and then you get into this music thing.
No, I actually went back to junior high and high school.
Okay.
And my mom was like, there was a lot of stuff that I auditioned for. So they had I auditioned for Poetic Justice. I was supposed to I auditioned for John Singleton, and I went in there and so on Poetic Justice, you know, she has a mom who passed, right?
Yes.
So there was supposed to be a scene in that movie where she runs in and she sees that her mom is on the ground. So I was supposed to be young Janet Jackson, but they took that scene out. So I went into there and I did the scene for John Singleton. He was like, great, wonderful. He's very much like, he doesn't show his like emotion or how he feels. He was like, great, or whatever. And then they told me that I got it. Then they ended up taking that out. So I was like, okay, I didn't do that. Then I went on an audition for In the House, I think it was called, with Maia Campbell and LL Cool J. I was supposed to do that.
Oh, I think I've seen that show. That was the show, right? LL Cool J had a show, right? That happened.
That was a show with LL Cool J.
Yeah.
Maia Campbell. And
okay,
I think it was Debbie Allen.
It happened, yeah. Okay, I've seen that before.
I was supposed to do that show, and then they ended up switching, and they said, you know what, we feel like you look a little bit too young to be, you know, we need somebody that looks more like a teenager. So they picked Maia Campbell, which I love her. So then after that, I was going on a lot of auditions, but I wasn't. I didn't have a love behind it though. Like I was like, I was too much. I wanted to have friends. Like I wanted to go be in high school, have friends, have this experience as much as I can, even though I couldn't really do anything because my mom was so strict. I wanted to live out that experience because the more that I was into acting, the more that people would either talk about me or they just didn't know that side of the entertainment business, so they treated me a certain way.
Yeah. So
I wanted to be as normal as possible. So I just stopped for a second. And it wasn't like I told my mom I don't want to do this. She just knew. She was like, okay, I think she needs a break. So I didn't go on a lot of auditions as much. And
for how long? How many years was
during
that?
That time though,
that
was from probably 3.5 years.
Okay.
Probably
wow.
like 3.5 years. So I was from 15 to 17.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. I was just like, no. So I got to, just be a kid, have friends, all that good stuff. But during that time, my older sister, she was, she's always sang. So she's always done demos for people, and she was always, singing. And she was actually signed to Columbia. So she was doing demos for other people at the time. And there was this woman that was in one of her sessions, a producer, and she was like, do you have anybody else that you would have in mind to be in a group? And she was like, well, me and my sister sing. We sing all the time. And so she was like, oh, okay, we'll bring them in here, blah, blah, blah. And the record label was Shaq's record label. He put together a record label, and he wanted different, Twism, exactly.
Okay.
And he wanted to have different artists on there. And so
Shaq he didn't need to stop. Shaq he need to stop. Shaq, I think he even put out his own album on that label. Is that label even still a thing? That's not even a thing. Come on. Shaq he need to stop that. Remember he was trying to rap? Oh my God. He need to stop that.
Yes. No, we sang on that album.
You did?
We sang on that
album. I'm gonna have to go find that somewhere.
My sister, she actually sang lead on it's called Let's Wait a While. They kind of remixed Janet Jackson's thing, and he's rapping and she's singing the chorus. It's a lot. But we ended up being on Twism, and it was a guy like a guy group that was also on there. I think they were from New York or wherever. And we signed to the label, and we actually did a couple of shows. We did a show with Jay-Z, and who else was on that? And Shaq was there. It was in LA. And then we did school tours, and all that stuff was fun.
And so how long did you do that for?
That was probably 2 years, I want to say. And then the record label dissolved. But the only reason why I really did that group is because my sisters, they act and they sing, but their voices shine a little bit more. Like they sing. And for me, I sing, but I sing like in my room. I sing like my voice, I don't train my voice like they do. So I'm not the first one to go out there and just start belting a song.
Right.
So I felt like I want to do this for my sisters because it was fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
It took the attention off of me. And I was just like, I know they really want to do this.
And
so
plus, you were the star already.
Because
you were already the star. You were already the bigger star, sister. So you probably were like, well, I've been there, done. I did the acting thing. Now, let me ask you this: did you guys have money from the Family Matters all the way up until this time? Like you guys were still good, right? So those were some good checks then.
Yep.
So and then so in the performing, that all happened, and then. And then the record label dissolved, and during that time, what happened? During that time, I started getting caught up in like trying to be, because I remember I told you I wanted to have friends, I wanted to be regular, and during that time I hit 18, and 18 meant that you could have people call your house, you could have friends come over, you can go out, you could have a boyfriend. So I started getting caught up in that. And that's why it's no shade to my mom. She's from East St. Louis. She saw different things when she was younger. So that's the reason why she was so protective, because there wasn't a man around. But I do say to women, do not shelter your daughters so much, because once they get a chance to break loose, not all of them, but once they get a chance to break loose, they're going to break loose. And that's exactly what I did. It was like a lot of stuff came. As soon as I knew hold on. Let's back it up. So through the break loose, so that means you were out partying, drinking, smoking, sex, and then all of that?
Yeah, no. First of all, I wasn't having sex like that. No, I wasn't having sex like that. But as far as I was doing things like not going to class, like I was ditching school. And so from ditching school made me start smoking weed. Smoking weed made me start drinking. And, it was just, I had this one homegirl that was like, she was down with it too. So it was just me and her. So it wasn't like I was just partying around, because like I said, I lived in the suburbs. It's not like I was really doing much out here. So I was basically going to, different places with her, like little house parties with her. I was smart enough to not ever date any boy in the industry, because I didn't want to be, I didn't want to be out in the industry doing all that stuff. But yeah, when I hit 18, I got my first boyfriend. He was older than me. I was smoking weed. He smoked weed. I was drinking. I was doing all that. And it was kind of like I was trying to prove to them that I was the homegirl. That's really what it was. Like, I was trying to prove to them, like, look, even though I live up here, you know,
I'm still down with
cool.
everybody else. Right. And you know what?
Exactly.
And that's real, though.
Cool.
That's real. Now, we got to get to it, though.
And I think it's...
How did we get to the porn? How did we get there?
So let's get into the bag.
Yeah. Because we have all of this. Hold on. We have the music. We have the
Right.
family matters. Then we get 18. And then, you know, just suddenly, then we find out the tabloids are going crazy. You know, all of a sudden, Judy Winslow's back. Now they're saying Judy Winslow is an adult, and that's the headline all over. Now, I was doing some reading, and people were saying that you guys fell on hard times. So maybe you can clear this up and tell me what actually happened, so people actually know that you weren't just out here trying to just be a porn star, or maybe you were.
I just wasn't. No, I just wasn't wilding out. It was like, it was a craziness to all of it. So by that time, I think I was 19, 20. It literally, people, of course I get it every single day, but it was, I got to remember what year it was, because during that time I had, I was just trying to get, like I said, I was trying to be the homegirl and all that, to the point to where I was like, I didn't want to be in the household anymore.
Right.
Because the things that I wanted to do, like as far as drinking and as far as smoking, my mother never drank or smoked ever. Yeah. Ever. So she did not understand that. So she was also the type, like, you ain't about to be doing none of that in my house. You ain't about to be walking up in my house looking like you were doing that. It was all of that. And we weren't screaming at each other at all, but I also knew, like, I'm not about to disrespect my mama like this. Like, I'm not, if I'm going to remove myself from this house, and I'm going to do what I choose to do. The problem is that the people that I was doing it with was, the guys were like from the hood. The girls were like, they said they were my friends, but they really weren't my friends.
And this is in LA.
And this is in LA.
Okay.
So I had this one boyfriend that I was with, and when I look back on it, I was more infatuated than because I really didn't know about love. But I liked the fact that I could be at his house, and, you know, I could smoke with him, sleep with him, and spend the nights and all that stuff. And during that time, I remember I got a phone call from either it was my mom or my sister. I think it was my sister, my middle sister, Jania. And I remember her saying, like, you got to come home and, like, get your stuff from the house. And I was like, what? And I was thinking she was saying that to be like, because you're never here. And so I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, no, you got to come get your stuff from this house because we got to move. And I was like, move for what? And she was like, well, you know, you got to talk to mom about that, blah, 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 blah. So I ended up talking to my mom, and she was saying, like, you know, no opportunities have came in for us. You know what I mean? Like, and you're not trying to act. At that time, I was trying to escape. This is the thing with my drinking and my smoking. I had really bad anxiety. I always hated the spotlight being on me.
Yes.
So I was tired of going into these clubs. I was tired of hanging out with people, and everybody would switch the conversation over to me. So the only thing that would make me to calm the anxiety was the weed, or the only thing to make me actually want to have a conversation and be upbeat was the drink. But during that, I kind of got addicted to the weed. And people say, oh, well, weed is not that. No. I was smoking like, I was every hour I had to smoke.
People smoke all day, okay? So they blow it down.
All day long. And
especially out here.
And I just didn't want to, especially out here. And it does make you're not motivated to do it.
Nothing.
So for me, nothing at all. So during that time, I was getting calls to be on, to do like different shows and stuff, but I was literally not showing up. And my mom was like, Don, you got to stop doing that. So this is what was like kind of my wake up call. Before I had ended up talking to her, and she was saying, okay, the money is, you know, we're kind of out of money.
And now she wasn't working, right? Or was she working?
My mom was working she was still singing. She was still but it wasn't like, you know, the money that we were making if we were on like TV and stuff like that.
Okay.
So she was still trying to live out her dream as well as being our manager and and following our dream.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that show called? The Game. So I don't know if you guys remember, there was Derwin and Melanie.
Yes.
And then Melanie ended up finding about this girl that got pregnant from Derwin.
Yeah, no, I don't remember,
Right,
but
do
I
you remember
remember.
that?
I do remember those characters on BET, right?
Okay, there was a character, right? Yeah. on
Derwin
BET.
had the
Well, at
eyes
time,
like
I think it was
Urkel,
still on
right?
CW. A little bit, yeah.
Oh, I think. Yeah.
So there was a role for this girl. I forgot her name. She ends up getting pregnant by Derwin. I was supposed to play that girl. Now, this is how much I was tripping. So I go on the audition. I get the dang show. I go up to Paramount Studios. They put me in my trailer. I go and I sit in the trailer. And at the time, the boyfriend that I had stayed with him, and my mom was like, "Don't bring that dude over there with you." And I was like, "No, I'm fine. Like I got this under control. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm freaking 18, 19 now. I got this. So however old I was." So I get on there, and the anxiety starts kicking in, and I'm like really nervous, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I wish they would just put me on set so I can go ahead and do my thing. And he's like, "Well, why don't we just smoke?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you know, why don't we?" So we end up hotboxing that dang trailer out, right? Mind you, I never went on set.
Are you serious?
We end up hotboxing that trailer out. I never went on set. I just signed in. I was there for 2 hours in that trailer waiting to go on set, waiting to actually, you know, meet the people, go into fittings. This is my first day there. So I hotboxed the trailer out. One of the assistant directors come in, and she, you know, introduces me, and I have to like give her my my measurements or something like that. And she kind of had a weird look on her face. It was a black woman, and she ends up walking out. About 30 minutes later, she comes back in with a little thing for me to sign out. So it's basically like, "No, thank you. We don't need your services.
Oh.
You are a pothead." Basically,
Yeah.
that's what they were saying. Like, in so many words. And I remember as soon as I like got back to the car, I called my mom, and I was like, "They said that I'm done." And she was like, "Yeah, that's because you were in there smoking." Like she was like really disappointed. She was like, "Jaimee, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Like, what exactly is going on?"
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I was kind of like, I got this under control. I'm good. You know, whatever. I'm going to go back to my dude. And so that's what I did. And so the whole time she was like, it was killing her on the inside because she was like, she could see my potential. There was really nothing that she could do though. So maybe a month or two happens, and I call her, and that's when she's like, "You know, nobody's really booking anything. You're not really going on auditions. I'm not flying out and singing as much. Like we got to go. Basically, we got to leave." And I was like, "Really?" She was like, "Yeah." And going back to the tabloids, when people were saying she used up all her money, she used up, no, the reason why my mother did that is because I said that she could do that. She had came to me and she was like, "We only have your trust fund, basically. We only have the money in there." And I told my mother, I said, "Well, go ahead and take that money and use that for that."
Yeah.
Because we're bankrupt now. I literally said that. So, you know, the tabloids and people will try to turn it to make it into a salacious thing, you know, to make it juicy or whatever. But the bottom line is that I told her to do that. Okay. So, what y'all want to know about? Y'all want to know about the video?
They want to get to the video.
So, they want to get to it. So, we ended up going through all of that. I had moved back home briefly because me and my boyfriend were getting into it. But I didn't have a job or anything, and I wanted to live like how I was living before. I wanted to.
So you guys moved to a smaller place?
All these things
You guys moved to like a smaller location?
No, we were still in that place.
Okay.
No, we were still in that place because the money that my mother would use for my trust, for my fund or whatever, she was trying to figure out if we could still stay in that place. So
how much was the rent at the time? Can you tell us?
Different people.
How much was how much would you pay? Oh, you can't tell us.
No, I can't tell you.
Okay. I had to try.
It was
Okay, go ahead.
And so she was trying to figure out how much, like what she could do basically. And during that time, like I was so caught up in this dude that I was like, Mom, I need, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to be able to live? And, she was like, girl, I don't know. And so I was in my room and I was like, well, I can't work at McDonald's because somebody's going to say something about me at McDonald's. I can't do this or whatever. And I left it alone. Mm-hmm. This is how the devil works. Mm-hmm. A friend of mine, my best friend at the time, she was working at she was working at the courthouse in Van Nuys, and she was working for some attorney. And she was like, I was with her during her day at work, and she was like, could you go down there and get me something to eat, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so I went down to get like both of us some sandwiches. And while I was down there was this woman, and she was like, hey, you're very pretty. Would you think about doing videos, rap videos? And that's in my mind, I was like, heck no, I'm not going to be, because during that time, video vixens weren't the thing for people that were, in the business. So I was like, no, I don't want to be looked at
white
like
lady
that,
or black lady.
But I took her card anyway. Black lady.
Oh.
Right. So I was like, I took her card anyway. Fast forward maybe a week later, me and my mom get into it about something, and I was mad, and I was like, I ain't got no money. I can't do nothing. I'm tired of being in this house. I called the lady up, and she was like, yeah, you could, there's actually Snoop is doing a video right now. Like, you can come and you can do this. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, how much will I get paid? And she was like, well, you get paid like at least like maybe $1,200, something like that. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's what's up. So she was like, well, you got to meet me here in about an hour. So I didn't even think twice about it. I was like, okay, I was very, very naive at the time. Mm-hmm. I was running from, I didn't want to sit my behind down and actually make out a plan about my life. Yes. I was just running from just like everything. Everything was piled up, and I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and make this money. When I get to the dang woman, she was like, well, the house is down the street, but it's not really like, they're not really there yet. They're still setting up. Okay, cool. So we get there, and there's no cameras, there's no anything, there's no rappers, there's no nothing. So she's like, yeah, basically, this is what it is. So she ended up saying that it was basically a porn house, basically.
Wow.
And I was like, nah, I ain't cool with it. Yeah. I was like, no, I'm not cool with it. I'm straight. And she was like, yeah, but you're going to be making this much.
But where was Snoop Dogg? And so Snoop Dogg was there? Snoop Dogg was there?
There was no Snoop Dogg.
Oh, so she played you.
Snoop Dogg. She played me, yes.
Oh, my God.
Snoop Dogg at all. And you got to think, this girl that's like, all she saw was dollars.
Yeah.
Because she knew we had talked. You know what I mean? She was like, oh, this is about to be amazing for me.
Yes,
because
for her.
She was a recruiter. I didn't know anything about this world, right? Uh-huh. And at the time, people were like, how could you even think about doing it? How could you even, porn wasn't like how it was now.
Yeah.
Like, you had to really go and get the tapes and stuff like that. You couldn't hop on the internet and get shit. So, excuse me. And so she ran down the price, and she was like, well, you'll make like close to like $50,000. And I was like, and she was like, for an hour. Right. And I was like, oh, so where's the drink? where's the drink at? No. But I stopped for a second, and I was like, nah, I'm not with it. And then I started thinking like, oh, and she was like, and this is what happened. She ran through the whole thing. She was like, you get close to $50,000 after it's for an hour. As soon as you get done, you got to go straight to the bank to make sure that they're not, it's not a fake check or blah, blah, blah.
What?
The way that she was talking. Yeah. Seriously, the way that she was talking, I was like, at first I was like, heck no, because I have a Christian background. I know who I am, but she was making it extremely enticing. And I'm not saying it's all on her. I was kind of, obviously I was a foolish one for doing it.
But you were still young, though. You were young, and you were trying to maintain a lifestyle.
I was still young.
And you probably had a lot going on.
I was still young. Right. And I wasn't thinking of the consequences.
Of the future.
I'm a Sagittarius. Of the future, and I'm a Sagittarian. Sometimes Sagittarians, we're so positive about situations that we think that even if the consequences happen, we can turn them around to where it's still all good.
Right.
Like, we really don't really understand how bad it can get. So I ended up doing the video. I went to the bank, cashed it out.
Oh, it was money.
It was what it was.
It was $50,000.
It was, yeah. Well, it wasn't 50. It was 45,000.
Oh well.
So I'll
take it. I'll take it.
Right. So I was like, oh, right. So I was like, this is it, you know. But I came home with that secret, and I was like, dang. Right. And so I was thinking, okay, I only did one. Nobody's ever gonna freaking know. Like,
right.
No, this is
because there was no internet at that time, right?
There was no nothing. There was no anything. There was none of that, right? So then me and my ex-boyfriend ended up getting back together, and he lived in Pasadena. I ended up going to Pasadena, and I'm starting to live with him. But the problem is that he lives with his mama, and his mama was like, y'all. He didn't have a job either. When I first met him, he had a job, but he lost his job. And so he had to stay with his mom. And his mom was like, look, you're a grown man. You can't be staying in this house with your girlfriend. You're going to have to find a job, blah, blah, blah. He started putting, like, the pressure on me. And he's like, see, you could easily go back to your family. Just very manipulative. So in my head, I was like, well, I could probably do another video. We can get our own place. So he didn't know anything. So I ended up doing another video, right? My best friend that I told you guys in the beginning that was running around with me, she started seeing that money, right? I was giving her money. And so she was like, I kind of want to be involved in this. Like, what you doing, girl? So I end up putting her up on the same game that I was put on. So she ended up doing them too. Remember, my boyfriend doesn't know, right?
Right.
So we end up doing another video. Well, I did one, and she was there, and she starts doing her own separate video. She ends up being introduced to my boyfriend. She falls in love with the dude.
What?
She ends up telling him what I'm doing.
What?
They both end up going to National Enquirer and telling them. So it's not like they searched me out and somebody told. My own best friend and my ex
exposed you. But why would she do that to you if she was getting money too, or she wasn't getting the JUDY WINSLOW money?
I think that it was. I think there was always a little bit of jealousy there with her.
Yes.
Well, she definitely wanted the man. She ended up being with him. But
are you serious?
I think that she ended up being with him. Like, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. I think that it was she. Even in high school, I could always feel. My mother told me. Actually, I didn't really feel it until later. My mother was like, "There's something about that girl. Like, I don't really want you hanging out with her, but you can hang out with her if you want to." I think she just had this kind of I don't know. Okay, her brother was on like a Disney show as well. And I felt like she always wanted to be in the spotlight that me and her brother was in.
Oh, I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like. I know what that's like. Yeah.
I think that turned into animosity. And then when she met my dude, she was the type of girl, like when she met him, the first thing that came out of her mouth was like, "Oh, you are so fine." And I've never had a girl around me meet a dude that was so bold to say that. So that was one red flag. And then I saw a parking ticket of his that was parked in front of her house. That's how he got the ticket. And so two started being put together. And then that's when during all that time, National Enquirer came to me. They called me and they were like, "We're about to run this article. You can either tell us about it or not. Either way it goes, we're running it."
And there was no TMZ. The National Enquirer was the TMZ of the time.
There was no TMZ. Yeah, exactly. But they had a reputation
of putting fake
not
news,
always telling the truth.
Right,
exactly. So I was like, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and take a meeting with you guys because I don't believe you. So we ended up taking a meeting with my ex-boyfriend there. And I was like, okay, so how did y'all find out? And so she was like, we can't really reveal our sources. Man, as soon as my boyfriend went to go to the bathroom, she was like, you need to get away from him. He's the one that told me. Him, you and your best friend, whoever the girl's name is, such and such, they told us. So she's the one that
I would have beat her mother.
Exactly.
I would have beat her. Oh my God. But hold on. Hold that thought right there. Hold on. We gotta promote this sponsor one more time and we're gonna come right back. All right. If you guys are loving this, make sure you guys like this. I'm so glad that we have Jaimee Foxworth in the building, giving us the tea, giving us the rundown. But let's get into some things real quick. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Armon, and this video is sponsored by AdamandEve.com, America's #1 adult toy store company. If you or someone you know are looking to spice things up, then I got you covered. Head over to AdamandEve.com and use my discount code Armon to receive 50% off of one item and free shipping on an entire order in the US and in Canada. Some exclusions may apply. Happy loving. AdamandEve.com. Okay. We're back. We just have to pay some bills, girl. We have to pay some bills. All right. So now, did your mom find out about this? Or did she kind of know, like, where did she?
Yeah. No. She didn't know about anything. I had to tell her. Like, so when it all came out, right? Like, I was like destroyed. It wasn't even more fact about everything was just, I was embarrassed at the fact that I did it. I was embarrassed at the level of what I did. I just knew that I was like, being in that whole world, whoever wants to be in that whole world, that's them. You know, I'm not judging anybody, but for me, that world was straight up demonic. And I knew that I was not supposed to be in those rooms so I could not keep doing that. So that's why I was like, no, I'm cool with this. So as soon as National Choir came to me, I was already like, it had to be like 2 days before where I was like, I can't do this. This is not me. Mm-hmm. So I don't care how much money they're trying to give me. So they came to me, I had the thing, I sat down with the meeting and they told me about my ex-boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. And then they were like, we're going to run this story, period. We just need to let you know that we're running this story. So if you want to give any input. So after that, I was like, oh my goodness. Like I had to act like she didn't tell me that about my dude. So I'm over here thinking like, how am I going to try to be cool around him because he thinks everything is cool. Right. So I'm like, I don't know, like, okay. And then my homegirl's calling me up trying to like still be cool with me. But in my mind, I'm like, how am I going to tell my mama?
I would have beat her.
My mother, listen, my sister, my oldest sister, she when she found out, she was outside. She was afraid to come outside, basically. But I was like, how am I going to tell my mother? Because my mother was the only person regarding business and my career that can make everything okay. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm going to have to tell her, but then she's going to have to make it okay. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, Mom, I need to talk to you about something. And she was just excited to have me around because I wasn't in the house as much anymore. So we ended up we sat outside the Coffee Bean in the car, and I told her, and we just both cried. Like literally, and that's like, my mother does not cry. So that's like, I can count on two hands as many times I see my mother cry. And we were just in the car, just bawling, just crying. And she was like, I'm gonna make it okay. I'm gonna make it, you know, you stupid as hell, but I'm gonna make it okay. Mm-hmm. So her plan was to basically, we're gonna turn this into a message. We're not gonna have it to where you can't show your face anymore. We're not gonna have it to where you can't do anything. Now, immediately when that happened, she couldn't turn it around immediately. So what happened was when it came out, it was a split thing of I was on one side, half naked, and R. Kelly was on the other side, on the same cover.
Are you serious?
My mother, I could not make this up.
I didn't look that far into it, so I haven't seen any videos. I haven't seen any covered. I didn't go that deep. But I just want to hear what you have to say about it. Are you serious?
Really yeah, it was really bad. So my mother, her only thing is that she went around in the whole neighborhood. She went around to 7-Eleven, Ralph, anywhere that she was buying them magazines off the shelf. As soon as they were stocking them, she was getting them off because that was her way of me being able to move around in the neighborhood without anybody looking at me crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So she was trying to protect me with that. But it was spreading like wildfire. So she was like, it was overwhelming for her. So she couldn't catch hold of it too fast. So I decided the only thing that I knew how to do was run. I ran away from my problem. So I broke up with that dude, stopped talking to that girl, and I got into another relationship. And this dude, I recently got to tell him, you know, exactly what he did for me in my life, because during that time, I went through a really bad depression. Like
I'm sure.
I would sit in, like, he had this car, and I would just sit in the car. And he was in the entertainment business. Like, his best friend was somebody that's big now. I'll just say that.
Okay.
So when he would go to this person's house, or he would go to this person's sister's house, like, I would literally be at this superstar's house, but be in the car for hours, just smoking and, like, reflecting on my life. It was like an ongoing loop of, like, dang, you killed your life.
And
like,
then the regrets of you being on one of the biggest shows of the country, you know,
right.
at the time
the
period.
Embarrassment, all of that. Right. Like, so I went through that for a good almost 3 years. Seriously, like 3 years I went through that. And, like, me and him were inseparable, but I don't even know if he knew that he was doing this, but what he was doing is that he was letting me be that way, and he did not judge me. When people would ask me why I would be in the car, he'd be like, because she's in the car, because she want to sit in the car. And
oh, right.
And
so he let you grieve through it.
Yeah, he was right, exactly. But I don't think he even knows to what extent how depressed I was, because I still tried to be myself or whatever, but I was, like, in a really, really low place. Like, I lost a whole bunch of weight. I went from smoking weed and drinking to taking ecstasy pills. Like, I was bad. And I could not go back to my mother. Of course, I saw my mother every now and then, but every time I saw her, I could see that look in her eyes, like, damn, like, what's going on with my daughter? So I wanted to retreat from that. So I went through a whole thing where I was just, like, depressed. And I wasn't necessarily calling on God, though. I was just, like, trying to wait it out to see how long this was going to, you know. And his friends were saying, like, dang, you with that girl that was on those videos, dude? Like, you with her? And he would have to defend me. The best friend that he was best friends to.
Well, go ahead, because it's going to get good, I think. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. The best friend that's the superstar now.
The best friend that's a superstar, he knew me when I was little. So he didn't even know what was going on, right? So he ended up coming, and he was like, hey, I heard that you did, you know, I literally fought this dude because he was telling me that you were on a video. And I was like, well, you know. And he was like, whoa, wow. Yeah. And I'm not going to say the rest of that. But it ended up, what I did kind of catapulted him into who he is today, because he kind of
did that with Kim Kardashian.
So,
just kidding. I know how to read between the lines, sister. No, but anyway,
yeah, you're smart.
Okay, I'm one of the sharpest motherfuckers you'll meet. No, okay. So now, with that being said, all of this is happening. All of this is happening, and meanwhile, all of this is happening, and Family Matters people are like, they're hating you now. Now they don't like you at all either. They're completely expelling you from the franchise or whatever, the series. They don't claim you anymore?
No, they're not. Yeah, no, they weren't. It wasn't like they were like, ew, we don't want to mess with her. Like, no, there wasn't any type of, first of all, the one that played my mother was a writer. I never knew a woman that writes harder for me. Besides my mom, it's her. Like, she is loyalty at its finest. Like, during everything, she was like, if she ain't on this show, then I'm gonna have to leave too. Like, it was a whole bunch of that going on. So no matter what I went through, she was still always there for me. Now, the other cast members, they were kind of like, I think we just lost contact with each other. So it really wasn't, I didn't know what was going on with them. But as far as her, as far as the one that played Waldo, Sean, Cherry Johnson, Maxine, Darius, we've all been cool. Now, but they didn't really bring it up. Like, they were just like, it don't matter. We still love you, blah, 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 blah. It had to take for me to stand on my own 2 feet and say, you know what I did, and we're going to move past this, okay? I forgave myself. God forgave me. Now we're going to move past this, and y'all going to give me some respect. So that's me speaking to the world. So once I did that, and I was finally not ashamed, and I was like, I'm going to pick my life up, that's when people were like, oh, okay, it's kind of like when you put that spirit out there, you get it back. Before, I was kind of like ashamed. When I did Oprah, I was still in that shameful spirit. But as soon as I was like, all right, I'm 100 now, that's when everybody was like, okay, now we understand what you do. We kind of, you know, not saying that they respect me, but more of like, we have your back. Like, we support you on your new journey in life, you changing your life. We support that, and we're cool with that. So after I did the
Girl,
interview,
you just don't know what kind of validation you just gave me. I didn't know you did Oprah. Let's drop a bomb to that. I seen it. Yes, girl, you just don't know how you just blessed me right there. Shout out to that. But go ahead.
But so I did they did the whole like Family Matters reunion thing, and I wasn't involved in that. So I did an interview with theroot.com, and mind you, I have not talked about Family Matters because I went through my own thing of like, okay, this is the reason why I wasn't on the show. Like, I went through that when I was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I went through all that, like, awakening of that. So I don't have the need to tell people all the time, over and over again, why I'm not on the show or why they're not. Like, I'm fine with that. Like,
yes.
I understand that Judy Winslow will be attached to me because it's a character that they best know, like I'm known for, and that's what they know me as. But I'm a whole mom over here. I'm a sister. You know what I mean? So it's like there's other things that I have, like, that when I wake up in the morning.
So why did you get invited to the reunion?
It was politics, basically. It was basically politics. You know what I mean? I don't think that some publications and some networks, even, whatever, producers, I think that they don't realize that it's 2020 now, and people are forgiving. People have crackheads in their family. People have strippers and prostitutes. Like, there's a way for you to tell how you can bring a family member back into the home without being explicit about it, because everybody knows, but you can play off of that in a way where people are like, okay, but that was respectful. Okay, we get that. We understand. Okay, she did some things, but now she's back at the family reunion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that publication was ready to open that door.
Well, okay, so I seen something, and they show where you basically shouted the show out on their 30 years, but nobody really commented or liked the post except maybe one person. So what is that? Or is that just because they don't have?
I think you're talking about a YouTube.
Yeah,
video,
I did see
right?
that one too. Yeah, I seen that too. I seen a YouTube too. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I literally commented on that person's YouTube, and he erased it because I'm like, that ain't true. If you go on my Instagram, you can see them up and down my thing. Like, we all follow each other. Okay. I literally talked to Darius a week and a half ago on the phone. Like, we're cool. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes people look into something so much that they end up not finding anything when it's right there in plain sight.
Right.
But no, it wasn't, like I said in the interview that I did, it wasn't a diss to my cast members. I love them. Like, I'm fine with them. We all know that this is a business. It's more about, but you guys are not going to keep blatantly disrespecting me. That's
Absolutely
what's not going to happen. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, certain things, it's like certain people are going to have to, like, speak up on my behalf because I've been speaking for so long. Like, if some people have my back, then actually have my back. So the one that played Waldo, when they did the whole thing, he actually called me and he was like, do you know that we did that? And I was like, absolutely not. He was like, yeah, I was going to definitely call you and let you know that this happened because I didn't want this to be something that you looked at and it took you by surprise. I wanted you to know that we did this. And he told me the backstory of what happened and how, what people said while they were there and who stood up for me and all of that stuff. So when I did the interview, it wasn't from a place of anger. It was a place of like, I have not talked about this. I get why they feel like they need to do this, but enough. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, enough is enough. Like, I was a whole daughter on the show. It's not like I was, Little Richie. I was a whole daughter on the show. So when they do things like that, it's different when it's like, maybe 4 cast members. But when you bring in damn near the whole cast member, thank you. It's not about the show itself. It's about the people that are putting it in place.
And
So
too, it's about the
if we're doing a
fans that
magazine-
watch the show, and it's the
Right.
impact that your character has. Because just like when something negative happened, they immediately attach Judy Winslow to it. You get what I'm saying? So I mean,
Right.
at least give you the just
Exactly.
and bringing you like at least letting you redeem yourself for showing that we're still people and everybody can grow. Like I don't know. I think that you should have been a part of it.
Right.
I still think you should be a part of it because you're part of like that's Black history.
Yeah, I totally
That show
get it.
is.
And I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, my whole existence is in Judy Winslow. Like, I have to go ahead and make my own way and capitalize off of the stuff that I have going on. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe it's God's work that he doesn't have me, have a reunion with them and come together as all of us, because I wouldn't have a T-shirt out that says, "Where's Judy Winslow?" You get what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't. So maybe it's just it's just God's direction. Maybe it's just that.
So do you talk to Jaleel?
I promise you, I'm not losing any sleep.
You talk to Jaleel?
Me and Jaleel
Lil
are
diva.
not in communication.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he was
We're
probably
not
the
in
biggest
communication.
diva, huh? Yeah, it's okay to say it. It's okay. Okay, so let's move on past that. Now, some things that I really was interested in. Now we're 2020, okay? So we're Family Matters out, but how do you deal with like anxiety? You know what I mean? Because you spoke about having that
Okay.
anxiety, and a lot of people have it. I know I have it. I have anxiety disorder. So as a person that deals with anxiety, like how do you handle those things?
I think I just perfected it. The thing with my anxiety, it's kind of like a catch-22, because of course it's kind of a fear that it can overcome you if you think about it too much. But also, if there's something that is an emergency or a traumatic thing happening, it puts me in this place of peace. So say we have an earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
And while everybody's running around screaming, I'm the person that's sitting there thinking like, okay, what am I going to do next?
Mm-hmm. Because
I've perfected the art of, you're in this fearful state. What are you going to do next? You got to hurry up. But what do you like? It's weird. And I think it's because I first got it, of course, we used to have these things where we would run out to the audience at the end of the show and they would introduce, so they would say our name and we would wave to I hated that part because it was like literally the spotlight was on me and I hated that. So it started getting worse the more people started recognizing me. And I just learned that for me, what I do is that I have to constantly, when I'm in that state, I have to feel like, okay, this is not a big deal. This is really not, your thoughts are making the situation bigger than it is. Then I start breathing. Then I start praying. Because I'm like, this feeling, I can't, because fear is nothing. I'm a Christian, so I'm just fear is nothing but the devil. It really is. Like, God gives us signs, but fear itself is nothing but the devil speaking that something's going to go wrong, period. So what I have to do is have to remind myself, like, girl, this is not a reality. This is an emotion. So you need to breathe through this. You need to think about, you have to bring your confidence up. You have to think about, this is going to go away. So since I've had it since I was a little girl, I've learned to perfect it. It still happens though. Every time I do a television interview or every time I have to do, it comes up.
Yeah.
But I just learned to put that poker face on. I've learned to deal with that. But that's also why I'm very detail oriented. Like, if I have to go somewhere, I have to do an appearance or something, everything, I need to know everything. I don't need no surprises.
Right.
I don't need, because that lessens that, because I know what's going on. I'm not going to be fearful. I know exactly, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So the only time I know that I'm going to get nervous is when I have to walk out on the stage or something like that. But I would say that it's a constant battle.
Yeah, I don't feel like it ever goes away. I don't think it ever goes away.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But the thing about it is that you do have to, for you, I'm talking to you, Armon. Yeah. You do have to take control of it, because the bigger you get, the bigger it's going to get.
Yeah, it
really
gets
is.
weird. Like when I go out, like I don't really like to go around a lot of people. Like I feel like I have now there's a word for it. There's social anxiety. Like I don't like it. I feel really, really weird. Like I don't know. It's just I don't know. And I never thought I would. It's like a new thing that's developing. Like it's crazy. It's that, and then it's just my other like.
But it's just
crazy.
being uncomfortable. You're gonna have to get used to being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, that fear is gonna paralyze you.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to do nothing. You're not going to want to go anywhere. So you're going to have to learn some techniques in order to get you through that, because it's just going to be there. It's just something that, clearly we just have. So we have to learn how to maneuver through it. That's all.
Okay. I got a couple more, then I'm going to let you go. Okay. So I got to get to my important ones. For, the good ones, of course, are mommyhood. You have one son or two kids? How many kids you got?
No, I have one kid.
One son, right?
A 10-year-old. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how's that? Does he know that mommy was like a celebrity or like a TV star?
He just he knew, but he little kids, they don't care.
Okay.
It's when he turned maybe 8 years old, and he actually he looked at it was on Hulu.
Oh,
and,
wow.
I got Hulu, and he saw it, and he was like, oh, dang, you were really on there. And I was like, yeah, I was telling you that, but before, he didn't care. Now it's he's watched every episode. He's watched all the seasons. He when it comes on TV One, he wants to turn it there, and I'm like, no, dude.
Are you serious?
But yeah, he's really, he's really into it. But he
Does he
loves
act
it.
too?
He wants to be in the. He wants to, but I had to make sure that was something that he wanted to do. I didn't push him out. I didn't do any of that. He was like, I want to do that. And he went on his first audition, and he got it.
Wow.
So I was
Congratulations.
like, okay. Well, yeah. Thank you. He's way more, his personality is way more bigger than mine is. As his age, no, I wasn't like that. He's ready to dance in front of you to do, he has it.
But I think the good thing about that is that you know the industry, so you got connects. You probably know people where it's you're gonna make sure that he doesn't get messed over. You know what I'm saying? Where it would be different from your mom, because she didn't really know. She was kind of thrown into it. Whether you've been in the industry, so I think you will be the perfect manager for your kid. Or would you be willing to jump back into that role?
Like I said, I'm only taking direction from him.
Oh,
so
okay.
if he's really passionate, he really wants to, then I'm moving along as he's moving along. If he decides he wants to do something else and he wants to, just start dancing or singing, then I'll let him do that. But I'm just taking cues off of him, But I wouldn't say that I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't, but I also wouldn't sit down and be like, hey, I'm going to be your manager. You're going to do this. No, I'm not going to do all that. I'm just going to oversee it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I need to still have that mother and son connection there.
Yeah, and not for nothing, I feel like child stars are kind of not even for nothing, no shit. They're the worst ones to a certain degree, because they get all messed up mentally. I feel like, so it's almost I get scared for child stars, because then they grow up and they just, I don't know. You know what I mean? You just see all these child stars grow up, and it'd be a lot that has gone on with them. So it's I don't even know if I would want to put my son through that or daughter through that. So it's interesting that you're taking it this way.
Well, because they didn't. Yeah, because I feel like they didn't get a childhood.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why they're so messed up. Like I said in the beginning, how as soon as I got to date, I just read it was letting a bull out.
Yeah.
That's what happens with child stars. We're literally working. People don't realize that we have a job at 9 years old.
Yeah.
That's insane. So,
right. A real job with public scrutiny and everything. And cameras and all that.
Yep, and we're mostly around adults.
Yes.
So that's when So when we get to a point to where we can be around other people our age and our peers, we start acting up. When we're able to go out to a restaurant by ourselves or go to a club by ourselves, we're gonna start acting up because we never got a chance to do that.
Okay, so are you dating now? Do you have a man? Are you still with the guy from earlier? Did you tell me about?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay,
No. So I was in a relationship for 10 years. We separated in 2016. So I've been single ever since then. So yes, I am dating. I'm not really trying to like jump into a relationship. I'm just happy with dating.
But girl, you are so pretty. I'm going to tell you, you look so good.
Aww.
Yes, you do. And that's everybody saying that in the comments too, but you are so fine. So listen, so when you're dating, do you have to tell them, do they know who you are right away? Or have you dated some guys that really don't know who you are?
I've dated some guys that really didn't know who I was. And then some guys, like, I don't like dating fans. Like, that's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to date somebody that's constantly like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing that. But I like having a little bit of mystique to myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I do think that that's kind of like, I like that. But either way it goes, they find out, you know, or somebody tells them. Somebody, like, their friends will be like, you don't know who that is, oh. But
have you ever had to cut a dude off because you're like, okay,
about,
you're fanning out too much? Like, I thought you was cool, but once you found out, like, you're just doing too much. Where people feel like you got all these connections, like you could put them on or something, like users, clout chasers.
I never had anybody be like that, like outright like that. But I've actually have dated this one particular guy I was dating, and then once he saw me like doing certain things, I think he found that more attractive. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was like, I think you're an opportunist. It was more, it wasn't like, oh, my girl's doing her thing. It was more like, you could see like the stars in his eyes and like, let me see how I'm going to finagle this situation. I didn't like that. So I had to let him go.
Do you consider yourself a celebrity?
Mm-hmm. I do, but I don't. I'm not of Hollywood though. I'm just in it. I'm not of it though, because
your grandfather
I really
Dan.
Don't like. Right? Yeah, I don't like the whole like sitting with other celebrities and talking about like other celebrities and the biz. I don't like all that. I've never felt comfortable in those situations. I've always said that I like to hear about regular people walking down the street and their life stories rather than somebody that's in the business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess because I've been in it so long and I don't feel a connection to the Hollywood types. Like I feel like I'm a little bit more down to earth.
Because you are.
So I don't know.
You are. And that's how I want to be. I don't want to be like super, 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 super fake. That's why I'm like, I probably could learn a lot. I could literally talk to you for hours. So I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying, like, I like that you are super down to earth and you don't feel very fake in Hollywood, because nowadays you talk to people and it's just like, I don't want to talk to you because it's just like, I don't like them. I'm not into that.
But you know what? I think that's the greatest blessing of having so much at a young age and then it being taken from you, because you have to humble yourself. Like you seriously have to humble yourself, because there was a time, I will admit, when I was like, I would say like 12, I had to do a lot of these like, what is it called? Like I had to do carnivals and stuff to promote the show at different, and I could not, like, it was a point to where I was being so rude to these people that would come up to me and they'll be like, you look like somebody, you look like, are you that girl? And I'd be like, no, I'm not. Yeah. Because I hated that attention on me and I hated the feeling of that. I didn't know what to call it because I was so young that I kind of had to go through what I went through to humble me. Yes. Because it was like, you know, people love you, but you can't be treating people a certain way. So, I had to go. I like the fact that my story had the very ups and had the very, because now I'm right in the middle and I'm just like, I'm not content because I want to do more, but I am satisfied with my quality of life, though. I really am.
Okay, so that's the last final question. I just seen somebody said that she should write a book about her life. That'll be great. But so what are you doing now? So are you acting? What are you doing for work? You still getting those Family Matter checks too? Like, how does that, like, where are you now? Oh, you still get those checks? Okay, shout out to that.
Yeah, and I have a couple of things. I haven't really went full force with the acting because I want to go into acting with the same love for it as I had before. So when I go back into it, I want to make sure that I have a one-on-one coach that I go to. So she pulls everything out of me that I need to, that needs to be, you know, pulled out of me so that I can convey that character the way that I want to. I don't want to go on TV and, you know, half-assing it at all. Yeah. Like, so when I dive back into that, I want it to be something where it's like, okay, look at this woman. Like, we get it. So I've kind of put a pause on that for a minute, mainly because I wanted to wait till my son was a little bit older, because I just didn't want to be juggling all that stuff. And I still had a lot of, spirituality things that I had to go through.
Absolutely.
But so I'm going to be going back into that probably in a year or so. I feel like I'm just about ready to go back into acting. But as well as far as other things, like, I'm really in love with beauty. I'm in love with everything that has to do with, that encompasses hair, makeup, clothes, all of that.
I can tell.
So, yeah, I just love it. So I have Jaimee's Beauty, which is right now I was just selling mink lashes. And I only want to sell things to women or people that I personally like. I'm not just going to do it because everybody's selling lashes and it's the thing to do. No, I like certain looks. And so whatever people are like, I love those, I love that, then I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to sell. So right now I have Jaimee's Beauty. It's on Instagram at Jaimee's Beauty. It has a link to where, the lashes are. Then I have also in one of my Instagram stories, it's the T-shirts I'm selling is where's what happened to Judy. And on the front, it has my face, and on the back, it says found her, because it's kind of like a conversation piece.
Do they have like do you make it for men? Cause are they like women shirts?
Yeah, I make it for everybody.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna get me
one. I make
one.
it for everybody. No, Yeah, I make it for everybody.
Okay.
And then I'm the spokesperson for Snack Time Express popcorn, and I'm not a popcorn eater. Like, they came to me and they were like, "We would love for you to be a part of this company," and I'm like, because I'm not really into popcorn, but it's like I don't know who's making that popcorn, but the flavors in that popcorn and the seasoning, it's like a black person.
Are you serious?
Like, I'm serious. Like, I went through 2 bags of it's crazy. But yes, I'm the spokesperson for that. That's also on. You just got to check through my Instagram. It's
okay.
on there.
So let's everybody follow her on her Instagram. It's what is it, babe?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is the name of it?
It's Jaimee the Fox on Instagram.
Okay.
Jaimee the Fox on Instagram, Jaimee the Fox on Twitter, and Jaimee Foxworth for Facebook. And
you're on YouTube, right?
And I'm on YouTube, and that's I Am Jaimee.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what is it? What's it? Snapchat is Jaimee the Fox as well.
Oh, girl, I don't use Snapchat.
Yeah, I have all that. I have I don't either though. Only for the filters.
Okay.
But I have the flavor for Snack Time Express. It's an actual limited edition flavor, and it's TGIF. Thanks God it's flavor. But, it's a play on TGIF when it was on ABC. So I got that going on. To the person that said I should write a book, I still am in the process of writing the book. I just want to make sure that I word everything correctly, because for a long time I didn't want to put the book out because I felt like I would be coming after some people. And now I realize that if I word it correctly, it's just me speaking my truth.
Just you speaking your truth.
I don't want to come after anybody. I just want. Right, exactly. So, that's the main things that I have going on right now, as far as being a mom.
Well, that's good. And so, listen, that's pretty much it. You gave me a lot of time, but listen, I learned a lot from you. I think the viewers did. And as I was going through the comments, I think a lot of people have a better understanding even about that hard time you went through, because most people are like, I would have did the same thing and I'm with her. And I feel like you need to go ahead and go forward with that book and do whatever things that you need to do, because like people need to hear the truth. Like everybody needs to hear your story, because it's not just what the salacious titles make it out to be. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of us that had we been in your situation, I probably would have done the same thing. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. So you're very inspiring, very humble. And I'm appreciative that you know who I am and you've supported me and you give me the opportunity to talk to you, because you've been a very pivotal part in, I know, my family household. And so I just want to give you the respect that you're due, and, and thank you.
Thank you. No, of course. That's the main reason why I don't do interviews on YouTube. I've never done one. So the reason why I wanted you to do an interview with me is because I knew that we can go in depth. I knew that it would be funny, but I also knew that I can actually. People think that I'm just living this depressed life all day long, and they think that I'm just on the street having sex with everybody. I don't know what they think, but I knew that talking to you. I knew that talking to you, that it could be a comfortable interview
Yes.
where like-minded people could listen to my story and actually get me and,
Yeah.
and see me in a different light and who I really am, and not just what, just pieces of articles and stuff that they do. So I'm grateful for you as well.
Yeah, girl. So now, and listen, I'm gonna hit you up, girl, because when I'm in LA, we might have to get a coffee because I want to know some behind the scenes stuff that we can't talk on live about, girl.
Yeah,
because honestly,
to.
growing in this business, like I can't go too far, obviously, because I'm on here online, but it's like a lot that I'm even learning.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even with these celebrities, because it's a whole new beast now. It's social media, and a lot of these celebrities are running their social media, and they'll come into your inbox and say all kind of different stuff, and it's just you get so much information. Like I have so much information, and it's like wow, and then and without realizing it, I don't think I'm a celebrity, but at some point, then I start becoming this entity. And then, you know what I mean? And it's just like, what's happening? You know what I mean? And then that's when the anxiety kicks in, girl. And it just is a lot. And then all of a sudden you have this responsibility to these people that you don't even realize you've ever signed up for.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens but that's that door being open to you. So when that door opens, you're gonna have to make those major decisions on whether to turn left or turn right. So it all depends on how you maneuver yourself when the door opens. And that's why I would love to sit down and have a conversation with you, because I feel like you are going to be something big.
Yes.
But the only thing is that you have to make sure that you calm all the voices around you in order to stay focused on where you're going to go. That's all.
Yes.
And you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. You really are.
Thank you, Jaimee.
You're welcome.
Jaimee Foxworth, everybody. Thank you so much, Jaimee.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, you guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. I mean, like, wow. Wasn't that phenomenal? Jaimee Foxworth interviewed with Oprah. Interview with the Armon Wiggins show. Listen, and I'm telling you, Arsenio Hall must be my thing. Like I'm supposed to interview with him, sit with him. We're supposed to do some type of collab together. You know what I mean? He wasn't never necessarily one of my idols. I'll be honest with you, but I think he needs to become one of my idols because I would like a late night show like him, and I haven't seen another black guy with a late night show like Arsenio. Maybe I need to try to reach out to Arsenio because I've been called that literally since I was this big, and it's no cap. And maybe I've been running from it because I never thought he was that attractive. So I'm like, I know I don't look like Arsenio Hall. But maybe it's the personality. However, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I was here writing everything down in my planner, in my book. You guys, I'm glad for the people that came here. Make sure you guys check out my sponsor, adamandeve.com. Let them know that that we get to down here. Lisa. Shout out to Heart of Inspiration. So we might have to do a twerk on it towards the end. But let them know that, support me, get some stuff so we can keep the bills getting paid around here. Let them know that my people, rock with their stuff. Oh, y'all trying to hear that new beat. Okay, we might just twerk it out for a little bit. Okay, y'all trying to... Hello?
Shit again, tell them that you like that. Like DJ, turn it up, better DJ, bring it back. Lot of DJ, turn it up, better DJ, bring it back. Lot of DJ, turn it up, better DJ, bring it back. Tell them better shit again, tell them burn up the bass. Turn it up, better DJ, bring it back. Lot of DJ, turn it up, better DJ, bring it back. Lot of DJ, turn it up, better DJ, bring it back. Tell them better shit again, tell them that you like that. Like DJ, turn it, 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 turn up the
Okay. All right, y'all. I love y'all. All right. All right. See y'all later. Until next time, make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all like. And I'll talk to you soon. Oh, and maybe follow Jaimee on Instagram. And this will be uploaded. I'm already tired. On the podcast. iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm out, y'all. Love you. Bye.